And we are live. How's it going, gents?
Hello.
How's it, guys?
Lekker, lekker. What's up, Kukle? How you doing?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Doing very, very well. Just but cold JNP. That's why I'm the only one with the hoodie on. But yeah, otherwise doing very well. And
thanks. Bit of a contrast from the Cape. A friend of mine actually put a photo up early on Facebook. It was 38 degrees in his car, or that's what the car.
That's crazy.
I was like, "Fucking hell, that's insane."
It feels about 42 in the flat.
It's like the opposite, yeah.
Yeah. So listen, thanks for joining us. Firstly, what do we call you? Cooks, Kukle? What do you go by?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. Cooks is perfect. A lot of people, all my mates call me Cooks. So yeah, that's Cooks is perfect.
Sweet. And then before we go any further, what I would love to do is just give everyone a bit of a background. When was it, Keegan? Like just after Christmas or something, you sent me a little video clip or tagged me on a clip on Twitter. And it was this hilarious clip of Cooks pretty much doing like interview style commentary on what was for lunch or what was for Christmas lunch or New Year's lunch. And we just had a look at some of your other videos and we thought it was hilarious. So I'm going to just quickly, for those who haven't seen any of the videos, I'm just going to pull one up here and just show the guys what you've been up to.
Okay, perfect. And it's hit. Thanks, mate.
So, you want the toss. What you going to do?
Easy choice. We're going to wash the dishes.
Oh, why?
I'm looking at the conditions. It's screaming out for me to wash. I mean, there's 3 pots, there's about 4 plates, a couple of Tupperware, and just the utensils. I mean, the easy thing is, because obviously we washed the lunchtime dishes just before, so we cleared up most of the room. So it just makes it easy to wash. And obviously, when you're drying the dishes, you got to pack away as well. I mean, that's unnecessary admin. I don't want to go down that route. I'll just go the easy way out and wash.
Any team changes?
A couple of changes to the team. We've got a new pot scraper, a new sponge coming in today. I think it's just for rotation and for fresh legs. I think the last couple of washes, as you know, have not been up to standards. And that's just down due to just time on the legs. I think it was about time we got a new pot scraper and a new sponge in. And excited for them. So it's always exciting getting your first cap. So yeah, I think it'll go well. And obviously, I've changed playlists. I think I've had the same playlist the last couple of washes and feeling a bit stagnant. I think if you're feeling stagnant, it's time for changes. So I'm going to go with the shuffle approach. Just put on shuffle and then let's see where the music takes me. I think, that's the approach for today. Obviously, we're excited. Just looking to bounce back from the last couple. Christmas, obviously, the dishes we watched at Christmas wasn't great. So, I'm hoping to bounce back today.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
So there you have it, folks. Absolutely amazing. So original. How long have you been doing these clips?
I did my first video about 2018. So about 2 years now.
Okay. And has it just really picked up now recently, or is that just us that's a little bit slow on the bandwagon?
No, it's picked up quite recently. The last 3 weeks have been insane. So I did a haircut video just at the start of December, and then that blew up a little bit, and then sort of didn't do any videos for about 3 weeks because I was away on holiday and just being lazy. And then after Christmas, since the Christmas one, it's been crazy. So it's like from there they just blew up, and then I did that one you guys shown, and then from there it's just picked up, and it's actually been wild the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. I know when I first went onto your account on Twitter, I think you had like 4,000 something followers, and now you're up to like I think 10 the last time I checked.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal.
You've been in newspapers, all sorts of stuff. It's amazing, man.
No, it's crazy.
We've had a few people on Twitter calling you a national treasure already, so you're right up there. You're part of it now. You're in the thick of things now.
Listen, it's been crazy. At the start of December, I had 800 Twitter followers. That's the crazy thing.
My God.
Before the haircut video, I had about 800 followers on Twitter, and then now, I mean, it's like it's actually crazy now when I go on.
You can't keep up with all the mentions and stuff.
Yeah. No, it's
day job.
Yeah, no. Listen, I've already got a call from my day job asking me, "Am I coming back to work?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm definitely coming back."
So what do you do for a day job, if you
you
don't
get
mind us
famous. Sorry, Wally. Before you're famous when you start switching your mentions off.
Yeah, yeah, listen, yeah. That's when Twitter gave me like a special alert. Like, listen, like, do you want us to slow down your mentions to just people that follow you? I was like, can you even do that? And I was like,
only if you're
yeah.
famous.
So that's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So just out of interest, if you don't mind us asking, what do you do for a day job?
So I work at a school called Woodridge College. I'm a teaching intern. I work with grade 8s and 9s, and then I also coach the first team rugby side. That side.
Oh, lekker. Okay, so also doing a bit of sport in that as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's my real job. I mean, I make these videos when I should be marking books and preparing for practice.
And then you told us off air you played quite a bit of sport as well.
Yeah, I played quite a bit of sport. I played for the EP Kings here in PE for about 4 years straight after school. So I had a bit of a background in playing professional rugby. That was really cool. And then now I just to play a bit of club rugby, bit of cricket, play hockey as well. I played more hockey than rugby the last 5 years. So I don't tell my rugby friends that. They don't like hearing that.
There's nothing wrong with that. We will we'll vouch for you on that one. It's fine. We normally tell the rugby guys. We normally ask our rugby guys to be like, before you say anything, pick up a stick and a ball, stand in front of the goal box, and let us do the rest. And if you survive it, and you're okay with it, and you can still chirp us then. But if you run out of the goal box, then you can't say anything anymore.
No, listen, I've had to stand post for shorties. I'll much rather tackle props running my way than having to stand there and wait for that little white ball to come flying past my head. No.
100%. I always used to tell the rugby guys, just come watch one of our games. Obviously not grass games at school level, like proper club hockey on AstroTurf. And every single one of them, once they've seen it, they're like, "Nah, you guys are fucking crazy. That ball's way too fast, way too hard."
Also, like I've been playing hockey now for 5 years. So in my 5th year, I finally realized the coming in the wrong side rule. So I've learned the hard way. So I know now. Like, listen, there's no wrong side in rugby. You just got to tackle the guy around his legs. In hockey, you could easily get hurt for coming in the wrong side. I'm very blown for it as well.
I'm very surprised it took you so long, though. That means the injury must have been very mild in the beginning.
Listen, I don't know what I was doing. That's the problem. So I never knew I was coming in the wrong side.
Well, when I played striker, so defenders know within the first couple of minutes not to come wrong side with me. I will take your teeth out. So speaking of rugby, bit of a upset this weekend with the Bulls and the Pumas, Keegan?
Love it. I wasn't too vocal about it on Twitter because I know the Bulls fans are a sensitive bunch. When they're top of the table, they let everyone know they're top of the table. But fuck, don't tell them Are you
thinking about Bulls fans or United fans?
Listen, easy now. We'll get to that segment. We'll get to that segment later. We're talking about the Bulls situation. Listen, they played a bit of a B-side, so they really gave some guys good opportunity to play some rugby, which is I think is always a good thing, especially if you've done the hard work up front. So I don't think you can't take too much out of the game, but great for the Pumas. I mean, I know some of those, it's not often that a union like that can say turns around and says, we've got a big scalp on our hands. So I think those players, surely had a good night out afterwards, even though we are under COVID regulations. Pretty sure there was a sneaky something around there. Cooks, anything about the Ruggers? I don't know if did you ever watch or did you see the?
I did
the
actually. No, I did. I tuned in. Chelsea was playing at the same time, and then I thought, well, let me have a switch over to the Pumas game. It was about 24-0 when I turned on, and then I was like, oh geez. But like, it's still in the back of my mind. I was like, the Bulls should come back. And then I think the Pumas were very good this weekend. I think, like you said, the Bulls did play a good side, but I think all credit has to go to the Pumas. I thought they were fantastic. They were very good.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I always say when you're playing a weakened side, you still got to go out there and beat them. So
no, 100%.
You just play what gets put in front of you, and if you get the win, you get the win.
Yeah, you still beat the Blue Bulls. That's what it says on the record. It doesn't say you beat the Blue Bulls B side. It still, in the day, it still says Pumas beat the Blue Bulls. And listen, it was a great win. I mean, they thumped them. It wasn't like it was a close win or.
Yeah, I mean, it was 44-14. That's a huge one.
No, they were very good.
We've got a bit of an interesting one. We've got obviously semi-final, or what's it? I don't know. They're calling it the semi-finals, or calling it just playoffs. What's it? I think it's Bulls Lions.
Lions, Sharks, Stormers. Western Province.
Western Province. So we've got a bit of an interesting one. It's not this weekend. I think it's next weekend. They kick off. Are we going to have a bit of predictions? You want to have a bit of a chat? Obviously, the Bulls is the best team in the country right now. Obviously, the amount of talent that they have, and they don't really have something called an injury crisis at this point in time. So they seem to be raring to go when everyone's fit. Lions seem to keep on having a bit of COVID issues, so hopefully they can stay clear until the next game week. And Sharks and Province should be interesting. I don't know who will be back for Province by then, but the Sharks seem pretty top heavy. Any predictions for the coming playoffs there, Cooks?
Obviously, the Bulls are definitely probably the cream of the crop at the moment. I think the way they've been playing from the end of last year to this year, I think you expect them to. I think they should beat the Lions and they should get a home final. And I think I'm going to lean towards the Sharks. I think the way Cohen Bosch has been playing, especially with the boot, I think he's going to be the difference for the Sharks against Western Province. And I think both sides have been inconsistent, but I probably lean more towards the Sharks. I think with Cohen Bosch and the way that boot of his and can kick it from anywhere. So yeah, I'll lean towards the Sharks. So Bulls Sharks in the final. That's my final.
Yeah, listen, I can't go against that too much as my heart is very much blue and white down here, and love to see those lads get into a Currie Cup finals, just because I have a few Bulls fans that I like to irk to tell them that we've got more Currie Cups than them, and they like to remind me that we're nowhere in Super Rugby. So I would just like it for that point. But yeah, I agree with you. I think Bulls and Sharks is probably the most likely final we're going to see come the end of the Currie Cup.
So just a bit of a curveball on that is, am I correct in saying that this is the last Province game at Newlands?
Oh, possibly.
Yeah. Possibly.
Depending. So I was thinking now as well of Sharks, because the Sharks always seem to get the upper hand against Province, especially in semi-finals and stuff. But I mean, if this is the last game at Newlands, one would at least hope that the Province side would, get a bit of extra out of themselves.
I think it's a bit strange with not having the fans there. I think that's also a big thing right now. I must say, I'm going to be quite honest. I was talking to, just having a random chat with someone. I think it was Craig Lewis. We were chatting just on Twitter and just putting it out there, like watching our rugby since lockdown, or since the resumption of rugby has been quite tough with no fans. I know we don't really pack stadiums out, but there's still that gears around at games, when 5,000 people in the stadium, there's still like there's a little bit of home ground advantage. You just feel that you have none of that at the moment, and like it's almost like quite a flat game. If the game just seemed pretty flat at one point in time, so I think that's got quite a bit of that will have quite a bit of say. And I don't know if this whole Newlands thing is actually, the last year of Newlands has actually got a thing. I don't know. I don't know what it is in the locker room. Hopefully it is, and hopefully there is a bit of.
I think it's obviously that whole sort of discussion has gone away a little bit because of the fact that there's no fans, and I mean, Keegan, I still remember you and I discussing that we have to get tickets for all these games because we won't be able to go again, and now it's just Done.
You gotta watch it at home. Yeah, no, it's sad for a stadium like Newlands to obviously like there's so much history and such great moments that has happened there for Western Province, and for it to like just its last game to have no fans and just to sort of and just for it to just sort of like it's sad.
I'm sure. Hopefully they'll be able to make a plan to in future once we're able to do it, to just have some sort of farewell game there, like even if it's like friendly or
testimonial game of some sort. Yeah, definitely.
That'd be amazing, because like I mean, I look at most of my junior, me being as a lighty, going with my father to Newlands, like going to go watch on a Thursday night. Was the old Vodacom Cup on a Thursday night, and then you had the Curry Cup either Friday or Saturday fixture you had, and it was just like part of my childhood. So it would be quite sad not be able to, at least just to go say goodbye and, do that at least once, and, have your good pre-game and post-game.
No, 100%.
But yeah, I hope at some stage we'll at least see a testimonial or something before it does get
would be amazing if you get all the province legends out and they do a lot.
That'll be amazing. Yeah.
That'll be a good one. Or a good old North-South derby, like have a in Australia they do State of the Origins game.
Oh yes, that'll be
all the guys that were maybe born in the Cape team up in a game against the North. Everyone up.
That'll be really cool.
That something like that could be pretty cool to go and watch for a final.
Oh, geez, that'll be really cool.
Also, if anyone's listening to this and planning something like this, we want royalties on that game.
Yeah, definitely. We're putting our hands up that we've just to the table.
You can keep the royalties. You just got to fly Cooks down to Cape Town and give us all 3 tickets, and we're good.
Yeah, that's a good deal. As long as
we want to hang on, I've got an added bonus. We want a couch on one of the corners so we can do a live podcast while the game's being played as well.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's the deal. That's a good deal.
So, moving on to something that Cooks and I probably don't want to talk about, but last night, United.
I see Jade's already around here.
Yeah, Jade's been waiting for this for a long time. United finally top of the league. Only took them 13 years, is it?
Pretty much, something like that. Yeah.
So I was just wondering, how did United go from?
Fucking amazing, yes. Thank you. Thanks for asking. Feels fucking amazing.
We don't care how it feels, Keegan. If you keep up that attitude, I'll mute you from the rest of the show.
We've got a PE teacher that's coaching it. That's our manager at this point in time, and we manage to get off the table. So I'm just going to put it out there.
So I was just wondering, Kings, what happened pretty much since our last podcast almost? Obviously, we took a break now with December, when everything seemed to be up in shambles, and now all of a sudden things are obviously, going better, and you guys are top of the table, which we wouldn't even have thought. I mean, United fans wouldn't even have thought about that being a possibility. Beginning December.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think too much has really changed. I think some players have found some form. Some players that have been pretty fucking shit for the past, I would say, 13 months at our club. Some of them have decided to, find a bit of form and play some football. Other than that,
chirp from Jade there.
Pretty much. I think, Ryan, I think our biggest thing at this point in time is, as any football fan and, any supporter base, we do cry blue murder and we do overreact when it comes to certain results. I think the sort of, how can we say, the shit show we had in the Champions League, where we were in control of that group and pissed it away. I think a lot of fans, I think that was a lot of anger to the situation and obviously caused for people to really go over and above about what the situation actually was. We weren't, if we go back and you look at the Champions League situation, we were in control of the Champions League. We were sitting in a good position in the Premier League still at that point in time. And I think we actually touched on that, saying we were in a decent position in the league still, but the Champions League, we were very commanding. We pissed that away. And it's almost like that whole Champions League situation has it's like players have learned from it almost in a way, like be like, you know what, we screwed up in that competition. It's done and dusted. We've got to really knuckle down and make sure that in the league, which we're still in, we can get a bit of form going and a bit of a run going. And I think that's what happened. I've always said this: in football, it's a bit of form, it's a bit of luck that's required, and you always need a bit of luck. And I think we've had a bit of luck going our way, and we've got a bit of form. We've got players, like I said, that have been atrocious for the past probably 13 months, playing some football. Paul Pogba looks like a football player again all of a sudden. I'm still not happy with bits and pieces of his play, but that's just me being probably overcritical. I think defensively he can do a hell of a lot more. But other than that, he's doing what the Paul Pogba we know. Harry Maguire all of a sudden can defend again. Since coming out of jail, it seems like he's found his defensive boots again. Eric Bailly has strung 2 games together without getting injured, which is absolutely amazing. So, like I said, it's a bit of luck. It's a little bit of everything at this point in time. Who knows how long it can last? I said even this morning, I said on Twitter, it's amazing for us to be on top of the table. I don't see us winning this thing, but it's good to see United competing again, because we haven't been competing the last 6-7 years.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I kind of agree with what Jade was saying here as well, and what you also touched on, that I feel that it has been a little bit lucky, but I mean, you still, if other people are dropping points, you still need to pick up points, which is something that Chelsea haven't been doing. But yeah, I agree with him saying that there hasn't been anything special really. But at the end of the day, we know United have done that in the past, where they just grind out results, and a lot of times not even the best team on the day, but they get the points.
I think a lot of the time, touching on that, is we've had opportunities, not just this season but previous seasons as well, when we get that opportunity to to really grasp, to go clear of one of our rivals, or to catch up with one of our rivals, we sort of wilter and we sort of end up throwing away points. It's like that BMT, just sort of like, we crumble under it. Where a game which was encouraging last night was a game like that we would probably have lost 2 years ago. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I think there was a big expectation almost last night that you guys were going to bottle it.
Yeah.
Even from United fan.
We had a few shit calls last night against us as well. Don't get me wrong. Like, we had a legitimate goal disallowed last night. And those type of things normally go so against us, we end up conceding and losing the game. We managed to keep calm and still go find the goal, which was very encouraging. It seems like this group is learning, and seems like this group is actually maturing a little bit.
No, 100%. I do think though, like when it comes to the
one
league,
thing I wanted to,
like I think like, when it comes to the league, like those are like wins like last night, like no one ever thinks about them like when you're lifting the trophy in May. Like, but those are the sort of wins that like make all the difference. I mean, you go to Burnley on a Tuesday night, you go top of the table. Like no one forgets about that. People always talk about if you beat a big team or you beat Liverpool away, but like if you go to Burnley and you win those games, you pull 3 points clear. For me, those are the games that make all the difference. Like, like you said, United normally lose those type of games, and at 0-0 at halftime, you're thinking, "Oh, geez, here we go again. Are we going to drop points again? Are we really going to let this slip?" And for me, that was like, I think when I was watching the game last night, I was like, "Oh man, this is a different Man United side." That's when I figured, I was like, "Okay, cool. This is a scary. a lot more scary United side because they have the sort of, because Bruno wasn't as great as he's been the last couple of weeks. They're still fine. Pogba pulls out a goal. Rashford gets an assist, and so that's for me. If I'm Oli, I'm going feeling today like, you know what? Listen, we can play so much better, and we still 3 points. We got a 3 point. We got a 3 point lead, and we're not playing as well as we should be. So I think it's scary times at the moment for us Chelsea fans and other fans watching at the moment, because they are going to click again. Surely, like they won't play as bad as they did last night again. I mean, constantly.
Yeah, one thing that they will only get better from where they are.
Cooks, do you think the likes of obviously we know the impact that Bruno has brought, not just at United, but like just sort of in the Premier League. Do you think like someone like a Cavani do you think someone like that could also bring might have brought a different psychology into that squad? Obviously, I don't think his English is absolutely amazing at this point in time, but just having someone so experienced, having won leagues all over the world, having scored goals everywhere, do you think just that having that sort of statesman around in the dressing room might also just help that grinding mentality a little bit?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think you get someone. I think like the value of someone like Cavani comes. It may not necessarily just come at game time. It may come during practice. Like imagine someone like Mason Greenwood having to spend every day in the week with Edison Cavani. Cavani scored goals all over the world. I mean, he's one of the. If you look at the last decade, he's one of the greatest goal scorers in Europe. I mean, so like imagine someone like Martial, Rashford, and Greenwood. They get to rub off someone like Cavani, someone they know he's good. They know his quality. So he brings that extra experience. So in games like that, and one thing about Cavani, he's always running. He's always making himself available. He's always making great runs, opening up space for someone else. Which is, I was extremely worried when Man United got him, because I think everyone knows the quality that Cavani brings. And for me, the only thing lacking right now with him is his goals. So once he starts getting more goals, and all you need from him, you don't need him to score 25 goals a season. So if Cavani, say he scores 10 goals from now until May, that makes a massive difference. Like he chips in with 10 goals. You think about it, like you still have Rashford chipping in, Bruno chipping. Because we all know how great Bruno is. Bruno's been out of this world. We talk about him being the best player in the Premier League, but I think there's not many players in Europe playing as well as he is at the moment. Probably just besides the Lewandowskis. And you think that impact, then you're adding the Cavani's and everyone else is chipping in. Pogba's chipping in again. You see, for me, that it just makes it so much more dangerous. I think it's a different United side. I think I'm not going to write them off. I think it's I see what Keegan's trying to do and saying like, oh no, we're not going to win it. Don't we just have I won't let you get away with that. Once you're top of the table, you got to walk the walk. But I think you got to walk the walk.
It's easy for United from here on out. All you have to do is win every game.
Yeah, pretty much. Like you guys always go on runs, so it's easy. Like just don't lose again.
Yeah.
Do you know, we're getting to the best part. The one thing I must say, and especially with you, like being a United fan, like this time of the year is actually where United normally picks up runs. Even a shit United team, like we've been so terrible, even under Moyes, and during this time of these run, like this time of the year, we normally pick up a run. Yeah. And what's going to be really interesting is I'm just going to presume we're going to go on the same run, like a decent run. What are the other teams going to do? Because we've seen how other teams, if they don't go on runs, you can quickly be 8 points or 7 points, ahead come the end of January. And then it's going to be quite interesting what happens. If we don't go on a run and everyone just keeps taking points off each other, like what's currently happening, this is going to be the weirdest Premier League season I think we've ever seen. If that's definitely.
I still think there's a lot more twists and turns coming up. I do think there's still the way the season's panned out. If you look at it, Chelsea, we were first come into December 5th, going into December. Four bad games, now we're ninth. Four bad games, you find yourself ninth.
How much things have changed just in 1 month is insane.
No, 100%.
And it's not just one team that's happened to. The whole the whole
Look
top
at
10 is
Arsenal.
gone.
Arsenal were 3 points away from relegation. I think come the start of December, 3 points away from relegation. And they've picked up what, 3 wins or so? And they
100%.
almost in top 6 now, I think.
Yeah. If you could, I mean, Liverpool, like we're ready to crown Liverpool at start of December, saying, listen, there's no one's gonna catch Liverpool. I mean, they draw twice and they lose a game. Now they find themselves behind with the massive game this weekend. So you look at it like, I mean, Man City's going on a sneaky run. That's who I'm worried about. I don't like Man City being so quiet in the shadows.
Have you seen their fixtures? It's ridiculous. Their fixtures are like they've got the whole bottom 12 of like like 12 down in their next 6 games. So they could score like 40 goals in those next
100%.
few.
Yeah, and like feel like and like they're defending well now, and scoring goals is never an issue for Man City. So now they're defending well. They can hardly concede a goal, it looks like, and then now they've got Aguero still to come back. So I think they're too quiet for my liking, and they're too quiet for my liking. And they look like they're building a little run there, which is going to be dangerous.
Before we move away from this football today,
one thing
Percy Tau, folks. We've got Percy Tau.
Possible debut tonight, right?
No, he played. He got an FA Cup debut already. He came
Premier League debut. Sorry,
Premier debut.
Hopefully a start as well.
Yes. So just to put that out there, hopefully Percy Tau can get a squeaky little goal and just
that'll be awesome.
Help them beat City, because that would be lovely.
Yeah, well, I didn't watch him in the FA Cup when he came on, but what I read was apparently he was brilliant and he swung the game massively, the momentum of the game after he came on. So hopefully, I'm definitely going to check tonight if he starts, and I'll watch the game. If he doesn't, I probably won't. But let's hope he does us proud.
He was very good.
Jade saying that apparently Percy is starting. And
I hope so. Jesus.
All right.
I know there was a lot of talk. There was a lot of talk. Oh, he is. Yeah, team's out. I'm just checking on Twitter now. The man starts. Already? Yep, man starts. He's in the starting lineup.
What is that? 8 o'clock kickoff. Must be right.
Yes,
must
8 o'clock.
Must be 8 o'clock.
Oh, that's perfect. I thought it was only be later.
I think Brighton saw the fans, the South African fans, filling up their Twitter account. They're like, "Okay, cool, because you got to start this hook."
How crazy is that? That's amazing. How wherever he goes, the fans follows on Twitter.
That's crazy.
They're really telling them to give the armband over. Give him the armband.
Make him coach.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to touch on the United game last night was Keegan mentioned the VAR, and I think most people can agree that goal should have been a goal. But that little incident with when Luke Shaw had a foul that the ref didn't see or didn't give, and then United were on the counter, and then I'm not sure who it was made a tackle, which they then stopped the game to check for a possible red card, right? Then they took the ball. Then they took the call back to the Luke Shaw foul, which I'm okay with. I understand that, but then they're saying that. Then they say, okay, that was a foul, right? Yellow card, whatever. That's fine. But then they're basically saying that whatever happened after that doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, if
you could have broken someone's leg and got away.
If he kicked someone in the fucking face, that just didn't happen because there was a foul earlier.
That's exactly what they're saying.
How illogical is that?
Well, like if you remember, I think during the Merseyside derby, when Van Dijk got injured, when he was offsides, and then Pickford had taken him out, and then they pretty much just they said, well, it's offside, so Pickford.
Yeah.
So now what can we do now? So now Pickford's foul just falls away. So that's my issue, like with VAR. Like, so now what happens? What if?
Because I can understand if you give the free kick against the Shaw foul, and you punish Shaw with a yellow or red or whatever you deem fit, but then the other player needs to be at least given a card as well. If it's a cardable offense.
I think so. Yeah, I 100% think so. I think you should. I think because the foul did happen, so you can't.
Yeah.
So you can't just let it. You can't just let it run, especially if it's dangerous play, like especially if it's like it's a red card incident. Because I thought, from my first glance, I thought Cavani was through, and I was like, oh, that's like from first one, I was like, oh, that looks like a red. Like
that's an definitely lost a finger.
Yeah, it was like last defender. I was like, oh, that.
I mean, there
like
was another guy there, but he wasn't. He had no chance of catching. And the other problem that I also have is now, how long do you go back in this?
Yeah,
5 minutes ago, the ref also missed a free kick or foul. So do we go and have a look at that as well, or how the fuck does that work?
Yeah, no.
Well, what irritates me is the freaking Maguire goal doesn't even go to VAR.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
How does that not go to VAR?
Yeah. That's what I don't understand. Like what gets sent to VAR and what doesn't get sent. I think, and from my biggest grab with VAR has been, especially in the Premier League, where, for example, if they're deciding a goal, for example, like no one in the stadium can see it, not even the referee. So now, we're all waiting for the refs to make a decision. So now the ref has got no power. The ref's got as much power as I am, and I'm sitting in my couch in South Africa. The ref's got as much power as I am. So now he's sitting there watching. Everyone's waiting. So I'm like, surely the ref should be able to, if something happens, he can go straight to the screen and have a look. Whatever happens, like he can't just sit there and wait. And like,
if it's advised to go to the screen,
yeah.
Does he go to the screen? That's bullshit.
Yeah, 100%. The problem I also have with the ref going to the screen, right, is you are not asking a human being in front of, okay, not now, but in general,
100%, yeah,
60,000 fans. You're asking them to admit that I just fucked up a crucial mistake. Now that's a super difficult thing to do if you're gonna have. I mean, think of if that call goes against 60,000 home fans.
Yeah,
Jesus, you know how they fucking operate in England. They'll kill you.
The thing is,
those calls need to be made. All of it needs to be made by the VAR ref, the TV ref, if you can call it that. But then they also need to do it properly.
Yeah, I feel like the communication needs to be better. I mean, if you look at rugby, for example, you can hear the chat between the TMO and the referee. So you can hear, and for example, the communication is better. So the ref can say, "Listen, can you give me any reason not to award this try?" So that and you both look, okay, there's no reason. Okay, cool, try time. And then I think for me, it's because I'm all for the technology, because I do think, like, you know what, if you lose a Premier League game because of a missed call, and the technology is there, and then that Premier League game costs you the league title, like I'll be extremely frustrated. I won't get over that. Like, so I just think they need to find a way where they can fine tune it and find a way, because at the moment it's frustrating at the moment because the VAR is getting the calls wrong.
Yeah, at the moment I agree with you that I think the technology needs to be there, but at the moment it's being run so badly most of the time that I'm going, fuck it, I'll rather have human error. Then I know, okay, it's a human error. The ref didn't see it,
You get over it after a few hours.
Yeah, with VAR, it's inexcusable because you've got the you've got the technology. So just use it.
That's the worst part. Like,
my concern with this VAR thing is when you got to start looking at fucking millimeters to call someone offside, then surely you take it now you're taking the piss, because a sleeve, like a millimeter of your sleeve being on the offside, that can now call you off all of a sudden. I mean, like, surely can we get some common sense into this game right now and, really, really try and narrow that gray area, because every rule that comes in and every time they're trying to implement this, implement things in VAR, there's too much that it leaves a gray area behind. And I think we're 100% right where rugby, and we will touch on cricket a bit in a bit as well. They've taken that gray area away. It's yes or no. And football needs to get to a yes and no situation, I feel.
No, I agree with you. I think because sometimes, like you said, because sometimes you'll watch an offside and it's a millimeter off, and you go like, man, I should have been like, it's okay, fine, it's offsides. And then you watch a different game, then it's like, it's like, oh, he looks like a millimeter off, and it's like, no, he's not offsides. And you can just, and for me, it's there's no consistency. So that's what drives me crazy. So one referee looking at the VAR says, okay, like, oh, that's a penalty, you pulled him. Then the next game, someone else pulls the defender in the box, and then it's like, nope, no penalty, and they won't even send it upstairs. And you think to yourself, like, but if we have the technology, use it. Like, use it. I know people go like, the game doesn't free flow, but I always go like, would you rather let the game be free flowing and wrong calls be made, or do you want, if there's a penalty being made, guy pulls a player, do you want do you want that's my mate. So like, do you want the right call being made? So I think it's listen, it's tricky, this VAR thing.
Yeah, it is. So one thing I wanted to just touch on before we continue with the cricket. I know Keegan's keen to touch on the cricket, but it's not every day that I get to have a Chelsea fan on here with me. So I was wondering, Cooks, your thoughts about Chelsea at the moment. Frank Lampard, he's gotten a bit of slack. Some people would like to see the back of him. Some people want him to stay. What's your thoughts on that?
I do think Frank Lampard has bought himself the job until the end of the season at least. I do think the job he did last year coming forth, I think he's done enough for him to at least finish the season. I mean, I understand it is frustrating now. I think that's, for me, the frustrating thing has just been the results here, but like, we're just not playing well. And we just, like, I made a comment that we just basically cross and hope FC, because all we do is basically just swing it out wide and then cross, and then it goes to Till, and then we cross again.
Yeah, we play all right, but as soon as we hit the final third and we get to the edges of the box, then it's I don't know what to do. A friend of mine described it best the other day. He was like, it's like a dog chasing a car, and once you catch the car, it doesn't know what to do.
It does feel like that, yeah. And I mean, we look, we look good building up, and then it goes wide, and you're like, okay, cool, get the ball down to Ziyech, and then he just whips it in, and then okay, now let's get it down to Reece James, and Reece James crosses it in. Let's get it. But I do think also, like, we haven't been fully fit yet. I mean, like, Reece James has been out recently. Ziyech just come back from injury. Like, Havertz has had COVID, and it is frustrating. It is frustrating to watch, but I do think that we will be able to. Listen, we showed how good we can be doing that when we went about 16 games unbeaten. So we did show that we can play. We have good players in. I just think now we just got to click again. I'm glad we got the win on the weekend. If you had lost this weekend, I'd probably been Lampard out. If you lose to that side,
that would have been completely inexcusable. But even that game, and look, let me just say this for the record. I agree with you that Lampard should be given time till the end of the season at least. But even that game, I mean, we won comfortably, and I know it's difficult for players to get overly excited about games like that and whatever. But it just felt like a really lazy performance.
Yeah.
Considering where we are, and considering that was a great time for players to really show off and really sort of shake off the cobwebs against let's face it, a very weak side. And what just wasn't there. It was almost like they didn't really feel like playing against these guys.
Yeah, especially the first 20 before the goal, we looked very sluggish. Before the goal, once we had scored, I thought we were good. I thought Callum Hudson-Odoi was brilliant again. He's been playing very well whenever he plays.
He looked to me like the only player that really wanted to play.
Yeah, he's been very good. Every time he comes on, he's been good.
Taking on defenders. I mean,
he's going to find meeting.
If you look at like Timo Werner and Havertz, this would have been the perfect game for them to just take defenders on.
Yeah.
They're putting so many behind the ball. So take them on, see if you can dribble past them. Try that out.
Yeah, I was happy they both scored though, so that made me feel better. I think for them, I think for Werner to finally just break that goal drought. I mean there were positives there, like Havertz. I thought he was good. I thought he was one of these better games. I always love when Billy Gilmore plays. I think he's one of every time he plays, he impresses me more and more.
Yeah, he's rock solid. I love it.
I've got a question for you. Obviously from the outside looking in, do you guys feel that your squad, and currently I know it's very young and everything, do you think you have as the saying would say, what's it, too many cooks spoil the broth? There's no real specialist, like Cook said in his video, and that you need the specialist now and then.
Too many all-rounders.
Yeah, he likes he likes the specialist coming for the bride duty. Don't you feel like a lot of when I look at Chelsea as an outsider and I look at the squad, I'm going, there's not many specialists in positions. Like your midfielders can play a little bit everywhere. Got Kante is for me your holding midfielder. That should be his position all the time. You look at Giroud, he should be your number 9. That should be it for me. And then you look at a guy, you start going through, you look at Havertz, you look at Werner, you look at, Ziyech is a wide player, so I would say he's specialist in that position. But I know, look around, I'm going to players and I'm like, there's not guys that really can cement their spot, because they're a bit of everything at this point in time.
Yeah.
And I wonder if
agree with you.
a lot of the times Frank is not trying to accommodate too many players.
I think, Keegan, you know what I feel causes is the cause of all of that is Timo Werner. And I'll tell you why. It's because Timo Werner is not a Premier League striker, right? He's not a lone striker in the Premier League at all. He's way too small. It just doesn't suit his style of play, right? And I really don't understand why Lampard keeps on playing him there when every single time he plays anyone else there, Giroud or Tammy, they score.
Yes, yeah. I agree with you. And also, to be fair, Timo isn't even your best left player. He's not even your best left player, because if you look at who you have, Pulisic and that, they're far better than him.
So what we need to do, in my opinion, and I think I've said it last year on here as well, is at least fucking try it. And I was hoping they would try it this weekend, but then they didn't, is to play with 2 strikers. So I know at the end of the match we played a little bit with 2 strikers, but we need to play with Giroud and Werner, or Werner and Tammy. 2 up front, that nice little Anelka Drogba combo that we used to have. Big guy that can hold the ball, receive the ball, hold it up, and just Werner can just play off him, and that'll create more space for him. It'll allow him to run into the spaces like we've seen him do at his previous club, and allow him to just finish with a lot less pressure on him.
No, I agree with you. I think, touching on what Keegan asked, I think Lampard at the beginning spoke a lot about, when he took over, and especially started this season, he spoke a lot about trying to be flexible in the players, and getting players in who can play in multiple systems, multiple positions, so that you can change the systems in game. That's, for me, it's been the frustrating thing, because we've been stuck trying to make this 4-3-3 work, and clearly it hasn't been working. So for me, it's we have all these players who are flexible, who can, but then surely let's mix it up. Let's try and play a 4-2-3-1. Let's try to put Havertz back at 10. Let's try and do something else, because now I do feel at the moment I do think we're midfielder short in terms of a proper out-and-out midfielder. Someone like a Declan Rice, I do think is something that we need, because at the moment, so if I was watching the game on Saturday, we have a holding midfielder, and then Mount is naturally a number 10, so he's up for he's gone forward. Havertz has gone forward, so the midfielder picks the ball up, and he's standing there. He's like, so who do I pass to? There's no one. There's no other midfielder next to him. So he's like, okay,
cool, let me get the field at the moment.
Yeah,
and he's
100%. Yeah, and then you go you don't fault those players. I mean, Kovacic, for example, is the same. But Kovacic, his best trait is his late runs or being box to box, making late runs and beating players. So my thing goes like, surely we need like another a Declan Rice, another midfielder in that mold who's going to sit next to Kante and sit there, and because sometimes with Kante is as great as he is blocking up play, like he sometimes pops up at the edge of the box. You're like, that's the last player we need picking the ball up at the edge of the opposition box. Like we need some, like we want to shoot, and then so I think
just a type like I don't know if this happened before, but like if you had to play like a 4-2-3-1, and I don't watch, I do try and watch as much of everyone, but I haven't watched enough to see if have they ever tried, or has any coach ever tried Kante and Jorginho next to each other in like a 4-2-3-1?
They have, but it comes and goes. I mean, they have. I think with Jorginho, it's been his defensive struggles.
Played most of the time.
Yeah, I remember last year we had. I think we do play a little bit better going forward with Jorginho because he is that sort of person that, he gets the game going. So he's so good in terms of picking the ball up from defenders, frees up all the other midfielders. Whereas that's not Kante's strong point. So he's got
a good pass on him. Jorginho's got a decent pass.
And like Jorginho, he's got a decent pass in him. I think. So I think Lampard is trying to fit everyone in. So almost at a stage like square pegs in round holes, and then he's trying to make sure that everyone. And I got like, man, sometimes you got to make the hard calls. And listen, this 4-3-3 is not working. Like we need to try something else.
But also, what also sometimes happens with a big squad like this, if you try and accommodate everyone and rotate too much, you end up basically just rotating everyone out of form.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So instead of pissing off two guys and saying, listen, you guys are going to just be on the bench now for a while, it almost feels like he's trying to accommodate all of them. So every game it's new faces, and no one's really catching form.
Yeah,
I mean the only one that's looking like he's improving after his big injury is Hudson-Odoi, like you said earlier.
Yeah, 100%.
But let's hope. We've got Fulham up next. That's a nice little derby, and I think we should at least be able to get a win there.
Should.
As we've seen this season, maybe one or two more wins, and maybe we'll also be top of the log.
No, 100%. I'm tired of having to scroll one down to find where Chelsea's in the log.
Yeah, we are now ninth. We're 10 points off the top, so it's not the worst. Still above Arsenal, so that's fine. That's all that really matters at the end of the day.
Well, to be fair, last year this time we were probably like 55 points behind Liverpool, so it's fine. We'll take it.
Yeah, true.
300 points.
At least we still have mathematical shots.
Yeah.
So let's finish this off with a bit of cricket. Great display by the Proteas over the holidays. What did you guys make of that?
I was quite surprised, actually. I won't lie. I didn't think Sri Lanka would beat us at home, but I didn't think that we would wrap it up so convincing, especially after the lack of cricket we've had in this country. Not really. I don't really expect the politics to get onto the field when it comes to those players right now. But I just think the lack of cricket that we've had, I didn't expect us to be on form. But then I look at it like this. I'm going, were we really that good, or was Sri Lanka really that poor? And I haven't really answered that question yet.
Yeah. That's the thing.
I think, for me, I think if you're coming, I mean, I try to stick. I'm more on the positive, in terms of we haven't played cricket in so long. When you play against, say, the weaker sides, you want to put them away quickly. You don't want them to let them linger, and you don't want them to send the test down to day 5, and it's a bit of a humdinger. And so for me, what was great was how ruthless the approaches were, how quickly they put them away, and just besides, probably I think the only 2 alarms was that first day when we allowed them to score 300 runs on day 1 of the first test, and then obviously when you had that collapse in the second test. I mean, besides that, I mean, you can't. It's hard to fault the Proteas. I think from there they were able to. They were able to put the game away. It was nice to see us score big runs. I can't remember the last time we scored 500 runs on a team. Just for us to score big runs, to see guys scoring runs, and like I felt bad for the Sri Lankans at a stage. I mean, that the first test that Oaks just getting injured, not non-stop. I mean, like it was actually getting out of hand. But yeah, I think with the Proteas, I'm excited for the Pakistan series to see where we actually are. But you know what, you can't pick your position, and when there you got to put them away. So I'll give more credit to the Proteas.
I think we've got I think again, Cook's like talking. If we're going to talk positives, I think we also got to start we have to look at some of the guys that came in. I mean, Avian Mulder. I think I've been screaming for this youngster to get a run in the
mini Jar Palace.
I've been like I had a good chat. Probably about 3 years ago with Uncle Jeff. I call him Jeffrey Tiana about him, and only had high praise for the kid, and just be like, this kid needs to get into the system and needs to be given a bit of games because he's an all-rounder that we need. Like he's an all-rounder this country needs, and he needs to pay off. And hopefully Vian gets a good run now. Hope 2021 gives him as many test matches as we can play. That would be wonderful for him. So Pablo came in with a wonderful wonderful debut on his first test. Obviously second test did just as well for I think he's 22 at the moment, so there's a lot of promise there.
100%.
You can see these youngsters, there's a lot of work that needs to stall. They need to go through a lot of work still. You can't bowl some of those lines to Australia, England, or India. But hopefully it just gets slightly better. It will get better, I'm pretty sure, if they just get eased into everything.
100%.
Markram, I think, lost out a little bit. I'm a bit annoyed about it because I feel that he had a big score due to him in that first test. Lost out a little bit there. Anyone else for you that sort of stood out?
Probably. I know Kia was good. He was menacing. I thought he was menacing. Giddy was good as well. I think he had, especially in that last test, that when he like got the openers out pretty quickly and to set us off to win. So I think for me also, like I look at the bowling stocks. I mean, they've improved now. I mean KG didn't play, so that looks good. So now at least we know we have options. I'm a big fan of Clinton Stearman. He didn't play as well, so he was injured. So at least we have what do you call it? At least we have some options there. And I think the batting will get there. I know it looks all doom and gloom at the moment. Like no one's scoring runs. I mean, if you look at Bavuma got a start. He looked good. He got a 70, and then obviously he walked in when he shouldn't have walked. I thought Rassi looked good, especially in the second innings. Also could have gotten 100.
Rassi, seeing Rassi
score was good. Algo was very good.
I think if there's one man that we actually just pray for at the moment is Dean Algo, because if that man doesn't dog it out, I think we every test. So it's good to see him scoring big.
It's always funny though with Dean Algo. Every time he scores runs, everyone says he showed some grit and he dogged it out. I'm like, guys, this guy's got 100. He's got 100 of 140 balls. He's striking at 77. There's so much grit. He's
catching up on the end of the innings.
Yeah, I'm seeing him like he's hitting his Oaks, also chasing leathers. Like, look at the fight in Dean Algo. I'm like, at the fight. I'm like, Oaks is on cruise mode here. He's like, no. But he's still showing a lot of fight. I'm like, that's every time he gets 100, he's like, oh, look at the fight. I'm like, oh, his strike rate is 77. Like, but yeah, he looked good. I think, But I think, De Kock. I'm not too worried about De Kock. I think he'll like, but it was nice to see Faf get some runs. But I think
catching needs to improve. That if there is something we need to improve on, I feel we put quite a few down there.
We did, yeah.
That's something that does. If we're going to be a little bit critical, I think that's the one thing that probably needs to improve is the field work.
But I think that comes down to rust as well. Have not played in so long, so I think there's an element of rust in there as well.
And then looking ahead to Pakistan. Sorry, Keith.
We can go Pakistan first. I heard there's some shit in Pakistan camp. I think if I remember reading through
it, always shit in Pakistan.
It's
always some sort of fucking thing going on.
I think there's some selection dog show happening in Pakistan at the moment. Like, there's a fight with the selection committees, like who has the final say or who has too much say. Dennis does cricket on Dennis, who's on Twitter, and that great guy, Australian guy who loves Pakistan cricket. Always, if you're not following him, he's always good for a few bants. He's probably going to give you shit most of the time, but he can take the shit back. So he's a good guy to follow. We've got a visitor. That's good. It's good to have a visitor.
That's my niece, guy.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Say bye.
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 I hope it's going to be a good one. I think I just want to see pretty much the same. That's it, actually. I just hope that we build on this. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
And get some guys playing in conditions they're not used to.
Yeah. I think I'm also excited to see cricket back in Pakistan. I mean, I think it's going to be the first Test series since 2009 in Pakistan. So that's going to be really cool. So it's going to be like it's for a nation like that not to have Test cricket for so long is, it's actually been sad. So I'm really keen to see some Test cricket in Pakistan. Hopefully they'll have some fans as well. And then and I think for us, I think it'll be a great test. I'm glad to see you brought in a couple of spinners. So for us, I think we're going in with a little bit of form. They've struggled down in New Zealand. So, but listen, those Oaks can turn it on any day of the week. So it's going to be a good
for
test.
you. It's our first time in 14 years going to Pakistan, lads.
Jeez, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah. First time.
Jeez,
2007 was the last one that we went to Pakistan.
Sure.
So, Gigs, I know you wanted to touch on the Australia-India. Let's start off with what you guys thought of that Steve Smith little cameo. See, he's in cuck again.
I think I said we're all on the WhatsApp groups together, and I sort of said, like, I understand that people are having an uproar about it, but dude, people have been doing that for fucking years in cricket.
Yeah.
I was a bowler back in the day. You go take your fucking guard and you start scratching away batsmen's guards, and you just tell the umpire that it's a bit slippery there, and you're trying to get grip for when you're trying to bowl. I mean, it's an old trick. It just you don't really get found. You just back then there's no cameras. There weren't cameras on the stuff to see it. So I'm not making a big hoo-ah about it. I mean, it's a bit of shithousery, but.
I just think the Aussies, for me, like, if you look at that Steve Smith incident and you look at the Tim Payne thing, I just think, like, I've said this from, like, a while ago, they should just drop the act, just, like, you don't have to be the good guys. Like, you don't have to be the nice good guys. Like, that's not, like, we just don't cheat. I mean, I think that was the biggest uproar with the whole Steve Smith and David Warner thing. It was like everyone knows how the Aussies are. They're hard and they're ugly to play against. They're in your face. But they never cheated. It's like that was the thing. Like David Warner and them, they just cheated. Like I understand. Like they change their culture and all of that. But I'm seeing them just drop the act. Just go back to being Australia. Like pretty much. Sometimes they sit there and they're apologizing and they're like saying sorry and like we apologize for the last 18 months. We've been really good boys. So apologize and I'm just like we know who you are. I just love also the fact that David Warner's turned himself into the most likable Australian opener. I was sitting there like that's the biggest anticlimax out of this whole thing. I was like
going to batsmen and shake their hand and they're 400. I'm like, mate, 18 months ago you were telling the guy to go fuck himself standing in the slip cord. Like now he's like leading like great. I mean, like to be fair, like it's not a recent thing. I mean, like I remember watching a documentary of him coming back from the IPL and his family, and he had like a whole camera crew following him during the IPL. And I'm like, oh, he seems like a really nice guy. I'm like, damn, okay, David Warner. And then like now he's not chirping anyone. He's just like in the field at slip, just standing there, like well played, mate. Like listen, keep it up, India. I'm like, what is going on here? I agree with you. Like, listen, I loved the test. I loved it. I really thought the series.
I loved it. Yeah.
Great. Like, I was waking up at stupid times of the morning to actually just watch a bit of cricket, it sort of reaffirms. Like, just sort of it just proved to me that Test match cricket's not dead and it's not dying.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it was 5 days. It was fierce. It was the chirping was back. The a bit of everything. This team was on top for an hour. That team was on top for the next hour. It was survival mode. I love cricket like that. I've always been,
it was brilliant.
I'm a massive purist, and as much as I do love watching the ODI, and I can't fucking stand T20 cricket, I love watching cricket that's so intense of that series, and I really hope that we see more series like that, and I hope that South Africa, as the Proteas, get to a point where we can compete on that level and be as gritty as that in the next coming months, because it'll be amazing to just see South Africa, England, have a fucking full-on old school test match, have a go at each other, and I really hope for our sake that we get back to those years where we can say where we were on top of it all. We don't have to win.
I agree with you. Yeah,
be hard.
Just to
compete and be hard.
Because I thought the first couple of tests. I mean, I remember the first test. I enjoy the chirping. I enjoy the guys going at each other. I think, if you look at the first test, everyone was so nice to each other. Hi Virat, how you doing? Well played. You saw you do. You choose Steve Smith. Yeah, so it's like you're sitting. So the first test is all. Yeah, so it's guys, you want them. I mean, we all know how Virat is when he plays against Australia. He chests out, and the first test is no chirping. Tim Payne is, when WhatsApp groups now we share memes together. We're all good mates now. I'm oh geez, it's just so it's so nice to see them get stuck into each other. And I think obviously when the tests get closer, I think teams, the true colors come out. Listen. Nerves and it was so nice to see, and like you said, for test to go 5 days, that's been my biggest gripe with test cricket. Tests end in 3 days, in 4 days, or if they don't end in 3 days, one side scores 600, the other side scores 500, and it's just these flat wickets.
Morning of day 4, and
I was saying on Twitter after our test, I made a tweet saying, "Goodness, but I really miss 5-day cricket."
Yeah, 100%. I love the little Ashwin Tim Payne thing. I don't know if you guys saw that.
That was brilliant.
At each other. I appreciate that, and I would love to see more of that, please. The world of cricket, please have more banter and shit talking like that. It just adds to the game. Other than that, so we got Pakistan. I think England have got Sri Lanka, so that's a whitewash. I think.
But it's tough though. It's tough in Sri Lanka. I think that's a different situation. So it's always tougher in Asia. So that's going to be a bit interesting. But I mean, so there's some good cricket. I mean, I think we play Australia next after Pakistan. England.
Do we have Australia or do we have England? Don't we have England this year?
No, I think it's Australia. I think it's Pakistan. Australia come to us. Yeah. And then I know England goes to India as well. I think, and then the Ashes in this year, so there'll be some good Test cricket this year. So I do think you'll see some hard Test cricket all year. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I hope I hope that we do see some intense cricket. I hope we see quite a lot of Test cricket. We haven't seen the Proteas play. Shit, did we play any cricket in 2020? I don't think we did.
No Test cricket, just that one at the end of the year.
Yeah, so I really hope that this is the year the Proteas actually get quite a few tests under their belt, and we can get firing against the as you say, the top 3.
I hope so. But do you know how many tests England are playing this year? So I saw the stat earlier today.
Wasn't it 13 or 17?
Probably a huge amount.
17 tests England are playing this year. How crazy is that?
When you
it is ridiculous.
You're one of the factors of the game. You get to you get the full schedule.
Yeah, I mean they got 5 tests.
If you go look at over the last couple of years, how many tests they've played compared to other countries, especially compared to It's ridiculous.
No,
crazy.
it's ridiculous.
If you guys haven't watched it yet, like, do yourself a favor, and if people are watching, if they are still watching, is I think it's called the Death of the Gentleman's Game or something like that on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely brilliant. Let me tell you that. It's all about the BCCI, how they literally run cricket, how them in England run cricket. It's a brilliant documentary, and I advise every single cricket fan to go on and watch that documentary. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, we'll definitely give it a watch.
Yeah. All right, gents. It's been a pleasure, but it's almost Percy Tau time.
Very amped.
So let's clock off, and thanks everyone for tuning in and for engaging. We will be back online. We'll probably next week go back to our Tuesday slots, but have a look on our Twitter feed and social media feeds for info, and make sure that you guys follow Kukle. You can find his handle and everything on our Twitter feed. And Kukle, thanks a lot for being on. We really enjoyed having you on and watching your content on Twitter and Instagram. And we hope you keep it up.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. This was so much fun. Thanks for inviting me, and hopefully you invite me back when Chelsea win.
It's always an open invitation on the show. You can actually just DM us and tell us, hey, I want to come on. We've told all our guests to do this.
Cheers. Thanks, Brent. Thanks for being here. So, Cooks, I'll tell you what, you can come on with me after every Chelsea win.
Yeah, it sounds like a good deal.
We'll make it festive.
That sounds like a good deal. But thanks, guys. That was awesome.
All right. Like it, guys. Thanks. Have a good one. See you guys next week.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.